What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to my channel. This is Durostar, and in this video it's all about kiting. Many specs are able to kite, some just at a better degree or more efficient at it than others. This video is going to be more specifically about Marksmanship hunters, but the idea is still the same. Okay, you can apply this across all the specs. So according to the Wiki Definition, kiting is basically a way of dealing damage at range while being out of the enemy's range or the target's range, so you can't be dealt damage. Kiting is like a lost art. You don't see that many hunters in this generation who really kite. Countless times I've seen marksmanship hunters not doing the kiting, they just stand there trying to deal with all this damage. But there is a better way of playing marksmanship hunters, and kiting is definitely part of it. I remember back in the days, I know a lot of you have heard of these stories about world bosses or elites being kited all the way to a main city. And I remember these. I've done it before with my guild back in the day. It's fun times, and I stayed with that. I knew that kiting was definitely part of the game, and luckily I stayed with it over the years. I've always played different classes, but what makes kiting useful is being able to deal just a lot of damage and being able to do your setups with kiting, okay? Especially in PvP. In PvE, you don't have to deal with setups. You can just deal out as much damage as you can while using your utility. But in PvP, you're definitely gonna use these utilities and your damaging abilities at the right moment. Like you're fishing, you're looking out for these specific moments that you're gonna deal out a lot of damage. Being able to kite a player, for instance, will probably make them blow cooldowns that they don't really need to, just because of the control you have over them. So when it comes to kiting, there are basic things. So when it came to me, for instance, and my Magor Orc, this is the first time in all my years playing World of Warcraft that I completely stopped using the S key for backwards. Okay, I use it for a keybind. I've always heard, oh, take the S off backwards and use it for something else, but I've never done it because I used to play a lot of alts. Being able to move backwards, like tanking in certain situations, was useful to me. And not because you can't do it, but if you're gonna move, at least move at full capacity. That's the idea, all right? So as a marksmanship hunter, you strafe to the left, you strafe to the right, and when you're moving, you are having your camera, you're still looking at the target while keeping an eye out on your surroundings and strafing. Like I said earlier, we have plenty of abilities that help us with kiting. So we have concussive shot. And with concussive shot, we have steady shot that was changed in 8.1, where every time you steady shot with concussive shot applied on the target, steady shot it gains a second or two, and you could keep doing it. So as long as you have a concussive shot up on the target, you can steady shot, and it'll continue to refresh or add time to that concussive, and that helps out a lot. Especially when you're with a build that has steady focus as your talent, and for steady aim or whatever may have you. Steady focus is very useful, okay? If you want to learn kiting faster, steady focus as a talent is going to get you there. We have tar trap. And tar trap is a trap that slows your target's movement speed. So it's more of an AoE ability. You can have it for when a number of mobs or players are coming at you, or you want to make it harder for a group to come through a specific corridor or a door, you can put it there. What I like to do is, after a freezing trap, throw a tar trap. So as soon as they come out, they're slowed, depending on what spec they are. Speaking of freezing trap, freezing trap is another ability that helps us in kiting. It's an incapacitate, so for 8 seconds they can't move, they can't do anything, they're just stuck there. And this plays very well with for setups as a marksmanship hunter as well as kiting. We also have disengage. Disengage is definitely an ability with mobility and kiting in mind, especially when you tag it with post haste, that talent. It frees you from all impairing effects. You shoot back 20 yards, increases the range for your target. So very, very useful ability for us. We also have aspect of the turtle. That basically makes us immune to all incoming damage. Not necessarily anything that's already applied to us, but anything that's coming, you are immune to. The downside is you cannot attack or anything, but you are able to put a hunter's mark, drop your traps, drop a flare, disengage, use your sprint, call your pet, revive your pet, etc., etc. It's not all doom and gloom. Kiting in PvE, turtle is useful for when the target is already reached you and you're able to just put it up and their melee hits don't hurt you. So at least it'll buy you some time between cooldowns, like a disengage or concussive or whatever may have you that you need at that point. Turtle is modified by 2 talents. Born to be Wild is one of them, and Ranger's Finesse for PvP as well. Since I brought PvP up, Scatter Shot. Is a talent that greatly helps with our kiting. It's another incapacitate, and they'll be incapacitated for 8 seconds, not being able to move. The only downside of this is that it shares diminishing returns with freezing trap. So once you use a trap and then you scatter right after, you're only adding 3.5 seconds, I believe, not the full duration. Another PvP talent that we have that affects kiting is High Explosive Shot. Super useful. I love this talent. It's almost a mandatory for me. It's just the way my playstyle is. Really, really, really love this move. You can have it for many things. When they're right next to you, if you froze an enemy with your freezing trap, you can use your explosive trap to blow them to anywhere, or even after a scatter. You can knock off people off cliffs. I love that ability. It's one of my favorite abilities as a marksmanship hunter. Another ability that we have as a talent is Binding Shot. Binding Shot is a good ability and helps you with setups, but for kiting, as soon as an enemy moves over it, they're rooted for a couple seconds. I believe it's 4 seconds. It's useful for kiting and duels and arenas. The only downside of Binding Shot to me is that it has a 45-second cooldown. I believe that's like a very long cooldown. I wish it was like a 30-second cooldown. It'll be very good, very nice. Another thing that helps with our kiting is our pets. Okay, our pets have abilities, or depending on what specialization they are, they can give you an ability to help you kite. We have my wolf, for instance. He can apply slow, so I don't have to apply concussive shot when I see that my pet's slow is up on the target. That's something to always keep in mind. Also, if you have a cunning pet, you have Master's Call. Master's Call is basically a freedom, gives the target 4 seconds of immunity, movement, and parry effects as well. So definitely a useful kiting ability, especially in PvP. It's by far one of our most useful abilities that we have. So we're finally here at the final section of this video, and that's actually showcasing the art of kiting. This is where we're going to use all the abilities that we just talked about. Now, I can't be there personally to help you out, but what I can tell you is use this video as a reference, but get your ass out there and practice it. Okay? That's the only way you're gonna really learn, is by practice, getting that muscle memory, and just it being second nature. Because it is really easy after you get the concept down and what it is that you're trying to do. Especially with the way that I'm about to explain how to kite, it should make it a lot easier for you to understand. Now, being that we're a hunter, we have access to our pet. And what we do not want to do is have our pet tank, because obviously that's the easiest way. But if you want to learn how to kite, you either dismiss your pet or turn off your growl. I dismiss my pet, and this is where I'm going to do my setup. My setup is I'm going to have him slowed down. I'm going to have him frozen. That way I can have a clear opener and I have to worry about anything. All right. And when I open up, I already start using things to slow him down. So after the sniper, I want to slow him down. So I immediately throw a concussive. I can still move by using rapid fire. And this is what I do. I noticed that I had enough time to cast some aim shots. So that's what I do. When talking about movement, the whole premise is you want to move or strafe to the side or moving backwards at an angle. Because obviously if you start turning to a specific angle, then your abilities are not going to come out. Okay, it's going to say the target needs to be in front of you. So you have to strafe in a way that you can still hit them and do damage. This is how I like to do it. Another way to do it is by whenever your ability is coming off cooldown, you can run away, right? You can completely face, like if you're running away from the target, and every time you have an ability up, you can like do a jump, half circle turn, and throw an ability. All right, that really just works with arcane shot. So, and steady shot. You can steady shot, and right before the steady shot is about to cast, you turn around so your face is seeing the target. But again, you always want to make sure you're using everything that you have at your disposal. Everything that you have at your disposal. You have your freezing, your scatter, your bursting, your explosive, your tar trap. You have your aspect of the cheetah. You have your pets. You have your disengage. You just have so much to keep your enemies at bay, and you're gonna realize your strength when it comes to marksmanship hunting. This is your bread and butter. You must know this in order to be really good at MM, I would say, because there's specs that you can completely kite, okay, and there's nothing they can do about it, and that's pretty cool that we have that strength. Even range, there's some range we can actually kite, and that's because we have we just have the longest range in the game, and we can make it even longer with sniper shot. So to wrap it all up, always use this video as a reference if you want to see what I'm doing in the video. But you're gonna get your own style, you're gonna get your own flavor. Make sure you strafe both ways, not just the easier side for you. Make sure that if you can kite, then you're able to kite 100% okay, strafing both left and right? If your keybinds are set up that you can only strafe to the right or you can only strafe to the left because your keybinds doesn't let you strafe the other way or whatever may have you, then you need to switch your keybinds, because I'm telling you, kiting is what marksmanship hunters are amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I appreciate making this video because it's one of those videos where it's a longer process, different formats, and that's something that I get to learn. But it's cool. It's cool. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot from it. The next video is going to be even that much easier. So please stay tuned to my channel. Please subscribe if you like my content. Like this video, helps. What do you guys think about kiting? Is it something that you like, or is it something that you don't want to have in your class? Let me know in the comments below. With that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.